Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk of Elite Wages. I am your host, Elite Wages, and this is going to be the Premier League Gameweek 2 episode for this week's fantasy and sports betting. Before we start, I just want to send you over to my Twitter as normal. Don't forget to like and follow, retweet all my tweets on there to help me, go a little bit further, help more people win more money. We've got a bit of news coming in. The guys over at Fan Team have released the NFL season-long contest, so I'm going to be locked into that for the next couple of weeks. But obviously still doing the Premier League in between. So I'm currently working on breaking down the NFC and the AFC, and then I'll get over into the Fan Team contest for the season-long game. So make sure you head over here, like, subscribe, retweet everything on this, to get people involved. I'm going to be dropping another contest soon as well, where I'm going to be giving away 3 free tickets into this contest. So again, turn notifications on so you don't miss that. But yeah, let's get into this week's fantasy contest and the season-long game. I'm going to be giving some advice for both, really. I'm going to be looking at the fixtures to help us do our season-long game, and then I'm going to be looking at fixtures to do the EPL monster for this week as well. So my best team from last week, 79 points. I'm 187th in the world from this team. As you can see there, done 3, not too well. 2 in the money at the moment, and this was a lot of people's team. Obviously, as you can see, quite a lot of high percentage players. Wirtz, Palmer, Haaland, Cucurella, and in the end, we did fairly well. Obviously, Tarkowski being a minus wasn't the best, especially when you got Matty Cash on the bench here. Xhaka as well could have helped with his 4.3 score. But overall, decent week. Undecided on if I'm going to make any tweaks to this team going into Gameweek 2. Let's have a look into Gameweek 2. So obviously still got Richarlison for Tottenham playing against Man City, which is a bit of a tough one for Tottenham. So whether or not I didn't plan on having him too long anyway. So I may look to replace him for someone that has a little bit of a better fixture for this game week. Maybe even Gyökeres, if I can sort of wiggle that room. Brought in Matty Cash as he plays Brentford. Obviously Van der Ven plays Man City, so it's not an ideal matchup. And then everyone else is pretty much the same, which is the plan for most of the season anyway. You don't want to be moving all your team for every game. But obviously everyone's team is going to be looking a little bit different. So we'll get into the EPL monster, and then the advice I give you for the monster will obviously help for your season-long game as well. So let's go to the week monster here. £11,000 prize pool this week, and let's get into picking the team. So I'm going to be looking through the fixtures and obviously last week's totals as well. So there's a few players that I have in mind for this position, right off the bat. One of those players is going to be Roofs here for Sunderland. Obviously had a very good game last week against West Ham. So look, 4 saves there, so 4 points for the saves. Obviously got the clean sheet as well. This week he'll play Burnley. So clean sheet, 4 saves, which is very, very good. This week he plays Burnley. Obviously played against them quite a lot last season. Let me just check up the head-to-head for those two from last season. Let's have a look. So Burnley and Sunderland last year, 0-0, 1-0 Sunderland, 0-0 with the last 3 results. Obviously Trafford was in goal for Burnley last year as well, which is going to be a little bit different. And they had Patterson in goal for Sunderland. But this year, obviously, Roof gets to start and he played very well last week. Another one I would consider as well is Altay Bayındır from Man United. He played a decent game against Arsenal. Obviously conceded that very controversial goal. 2 saves. Obviously got the goal conceded. But playing against Fulham this week, so an ideal matchup for Bayindir as well. But in terms of price, there's not much matching. 8 million for Bayindir, 7.4 for Roofs, playing against Burnley as well. So I think obviously Burnley scored 3 last week. Sunderland also scored 3 last week, but I think Roofs is the better option for your goalkeeper. And then obviously moving on to the next one, I'm going to go for Calafiori, not because he scored the goal, but because they've got a decent matchup against Leeds. He's obviously an attacking fullback, so he did score last week. Could also get a goal or assist this week, and obviously has a higher chance at a clean sheet as well. Let's have a look at the shots. I think he had a fair few shots as well. Shots. No, can't see shots, but I'm pretty sure he did have a few shots. 62 minutes played as well. But again, higher opportunity for a clean sheet and an attacking return too. Who's next on my list? Let's have a look. I don't know why I'm so unprepared for this one. Okay. Right, let's have a look, see if we can find the next one. So I'm actually going to go back to the Man United game. I'm not going to pick Bayindir for the goalkeeper, but I am going to pick. I'm going to pick Dorgu. 7.2 million. Plays against Fulham, so he's got an ideal matchup against Fulham. He actually had a really good week last week against Arsenal. Played very well defensively. Had that shot which dinged off the post, so high opportunity for a goal, and a lot of the time he does actually play as a left forward position, so he's going to be in the attacking role quite often for Man United this week, as he was last week for Arsenal. United had that high press, and Dorgu was often the one that broke out on that left hand side, so I think he's going to have a decent opportunity for attacking returns in this game. And then my next one is going to be, let's try and go down in terms of price. Here we go, the next one. Probably not going to be too shocked at this one. It's going to be De Kuyper for Brighton, playing against Everton. Obviously, Everton offensively are going to be very poor this year. I highlighted that in one of the episodes a few weeks back. But playing against Everton and having a solid defence as well is obviously an upside. Conceded that very, very last minute goal against Fulham last week, which was disappointing. Nearly had the clean sheet. I think it was 96 minutes, something like that. So nearly had the clean sheet. Plays the full game. Likes to get the tackles in and things like that. But unfortunately did concede the goal last week. Playing against Everton, difficulties a yellow on this, but I think the attack for Everton is very poor. Obviously lost 1-0 against Leeds on Monday Night Football. So I think De Kuyper, or if you want to go a little bit cheaper as well, Van Hecke is a little bit cheaper. Van Hecke there, a tiny bit cheaper, but in my opinion there's not much difference between 7.9 and 8.2 in this game. So De Kuyper is going to get straight into my team for my defenders, and that's going to complete my defenders. I'm going to go with 3 at the back: Calafiori, Dorgu, and De Kuyper. And obviously same rules apply for the monster than they do for the season-long game, where obviously you want to try and keep it as cheap as possible. But obviously the price is different for the season-long game. I've got Dorgu in a few of my teams, so I'm gonna bring in Dorgu and De Kuyper or Van Hecke as well. I think they've got, either of these 3 have a decent matchup for in terms of the fixtures. So for the midfield, the first position for the midfield, I'm going to go for Semenyo. And obviously Semenyo had a solid game last week against Liverpool. Obviously didn't expect too much again in that game against Liverpool. But he scored 2 goals, which is obviously a brilliant thing to do against this solid Liverpool defence. Obviously 2-0 down as well, brought it back to 2-2. I can't see shots on here for some reason. But yeah, he obviously had a few shots off, 2 goals. and obviously now he has a better fixture against Wolves, who got dominated by Man City 4-0. Obviously, Bournemouth aren't the calibre of team that Man City are, but they do like to attack, and they attacked well last year. They've shown that they can attack well this year against Liverpool, so them playing against Wolves shouldn't be too much of a problem. And again, he's someone that I'm going to look to sort of wiggle in if I can for Bournemouth for my season long. Looking at the fixtures, they've got a decent sort of run of fixtures: Wolves, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds, Fulham, Palace. They've got a decent run of fixtures there, so I may look to bring in Semenyo for the season long game as well. Next one I'm going to go for might be a little bit of a controversial one, in my opinion. I'm going to bring in Morgan Rogers. He didn't do too much last week against Newcastle. Obviously, it was a tough game for both teams, Newcastle and Aston Villa, both getting the clean sheet, 0-0 draw. Morgan Rogers didn't really do too much within that game. Actually, let me see if I can find some stats on that game. Hang on. But yeah, it was a tough game for both teams. Obviously no goals. But I'm going to bring in Morgan Rogers mainly down to the fact that he's got a good matchup, and obviously he's a very good player anyway. He sort of balled out in pre-season, if you like. He did very, very well pre-season, and obviously that's another reason why I'm going to bring him into the team for this game. Yeah, so he didn't actually have any shots in the game against Newcastle. He had a 6.5 player rating, but again, a lot of players did struggle within that game, especially sort of Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins. But I'm going to bring in Morgan Rogers. I think he's got a decent potential for a goal against Brentford. Obviously, with Brentford struggling a little bit in last week's game, obviously losing 3-1 against Nottingham Forest. I actually had that down as a low scoring game, but Aston Villa certainly can score a few goals, and Brentford conceded a few goals last week, so I think Morgan Rogers can at least contribute to a goal or two within that game. The next one is going to be Brian and Mbeumo. So obviously, similar to Dorgu, they didn't win. They lost 1-0, which is a very, very difficult loss for Man United. They dominated. They dominated possession the whole game. 22 total shots for Man United, 7 on target. In terms of the player ratings from United players, De Ligt was up there, but also Mbeumo was up there as well. And he played very, very well. He had 5 total shots, 2 on target, 2 blocked, but he's just a full-on sort of powerhouse in this Man United attacking 3, if you like. I'm going to assume that Šeško gets to start this week as well, but I think Brian Mbeumo and Cunha are still going to play sort of a pivotal role behind Šeško, and again, Mbeumo managed to get off a lot of shots in that game. 5 shots, 2 on target. Playing against Fulham, I think he's going to get a lot more opportunities this week. And I think he bagged his first Man United goal. 10.8 million in this game is a little bit high, and obviously in the season long, 9.5 million is also a little bit high for a midfielder. But I think he's worth a punt on the monster this week as well. And then the final pick, I'm going to go for a little bit more of a value pick, and I've actually brought him into a few of my teams already for the season long. I had him on the bench on a few of my teams as well, which is also handy, always very handy. And it's all the way down in the 7.5 million area, and it's going to be Adingra. Now, Adingra didn't get notifications over. Adingra 6.3 points. I think he did get this. Did he get the assist? So look at so he got 1 assist, and obviously the clean sheet, which is his full points for that game. But let me just go through a few stats. He had a lot of possession for Sunderland in that midfield last week. He played very, very well. Let's have a look. Right, Adingra. Where's Adingra on my list? Adingra, right, there he is. Adingra, right. So he had one shot, 2 touches inside the opposition box, 1 big chance miss. Obviously, that could have been a goal. 33 touches, 2 successful dribbles, 14 accurate passes, with 7 being in the final third. He did very well defensively, and he just had the ball a lot, and he looked sharp when he had the ball. He looked attacking. He looked like he was always going to press forward. So I think at 7.5 million, I think he's a very cheap option within this game. I think against Burnley as well, he can create some opportunities for the attack of Sunderland. So I think this is a very well balanced sort of midfield four, and very, very attacking midfield four as well. So I'm going to move on to the forwards, which I think I can sort of, I've saved a lot of money for the forward position. So I'm gonna move on to the forwards. I'm gonna put my forwards in, and the first one's gonna be Gyökeres. I'm gonna take a chance. 14.9 million is obviously very, very high. Starting against Man United last week, didn't really do much. Didn't really play too well. I think De Ligt and Lenioro sort of played him very well. But I think this is a game he's going to get a lot of opportunities in. Obviously against Leeds, lower fixture difficulty for him. Only played 60 minutes. I expect that to go up a little bit if he does get a few more chances. But yeah, Gyökeres, no shots, 3 touches in the opposition box, 22 touches in total. It didn't really do too much within the game against Man United, but again, he was locked up. I don't think any of the Leeds centre-backs can lock him up like United did last week. So I think Gyökeres is going to get some opportunities within this team, and within this fixture this week. And then we're going to move down to Ekitike as well. So for me, it was a toss-up between sort of Gyökeres, Ekitike and Salah, but I decided to go with Ekitike. He played very, very well on the Friday night game against Bournemouth. Obviously scored the first goal of the Premier League season on the 37th minute. He also got the assist as well, so he played very well in the attacking areas. 8.1 player rating for him. Let's get the stats up here. So as you can see, 1 goal, 1 assist. 2 shots on target as well, which obviously gives you a little bit more points. Played 72 minutes, but I do, he can play a full 90 as well. But obviously, at that time when he came off, he didn't really need to. There was not much threat from Bournemouth until sort of after he came off. But yeah, he played very well. He's a very attacking forward, and he's getting a lot of supply with obviously Gakpo and Salah, Szoboszlai behind him, McAllister. So he's going to be the focal point of the attack again. Obviously, Salah is going to be the popular pick with scoring 2 goals and things, but I think Ekitike can contribute in, the attack and the defence. And obviously, Newcastle having the clean sheet last week did look vulnerable a little bit at times. But obviously Liverpool can create chances against any team in the league, and I think Ekitike can be the one that capitalises from that. And then the final pick I'm going to make is Rutter. Playing against Everton, obviously I mentioned it before with the Kuiper. Playing against Everton, good matchup for an attacker anyway. Well, obviously the defence of Everton was very good last year statistically. This year looked a little bit sloppy against Leeds. Didn't do too well against Leeds, but as a whole they virtually managed to keep a clean sheet. But obviously gave up the penalty, which wasn't very good for my season-long team. If we just look back here at the defence, and we'll go to Everton. Everton. So their defence, they all got Tarkowski got a minus for giving away the penalty, and then majority was a 1.7. So conceding didn't really do too much it didn't really impact their game too much. I think maybe Leeds got lucky with the penalty. But in terms of the game stats, Leeds had 21 shots, only 3 on target, but they had a 2.1 expected goal against Everton. So, that could be a little bit of signs of things to come against, with people pressing high against this Everton defence. Obviously, Branthwaite out due to injury, so they're missing one of their main players at the back. And then obviously Brighton playing a very good game on Saturday. 1-1 was the final score, but Rutter did win the penalty that was converted by O'Reilly. But again, this team had a lot of shots, 10 shots, 4 on target, expected goal of 1.47. Obviously got the penalty, very unlucky to concede late on, but 100% impact. He just had an all-round good game, playing in that forward position. No João Pedro, so Rutter was the main man up front. So yeah, they've got a good attacking forward, Minty, O'Reilly, Matoma, and then obviously Rutter playing up front, so he's going to get a lot of supply into the box. Let's see actually how many touches he had. He had 2 shots, 1 on target, 3 touches in the opposition box as well, 22 touches in total. So he's getting in the box, he's getting the opportunities within the box, and obviously having those shots, getting the assist. Obviously with the front 4 sort of rotating a little bit, I think he's going to have a good game against Everton. I think Everton are going to struggle against this Brighton forwards. But so yeah, I think this is a very well-rounded team for the EPL monster. And obviously, if you can bring in any of these players, or if you've got some of these players within your team on the bench or in your starting lineup, I think these are good options for this week. In terms of my captain for the season long, obviously the monster doesn't have Man City, for example. Haaland is probably the main captain candidate for this week. I can't quite remember who they play. Let's have a look who they play. Man City play Tottenham, so yeah, good candidate for a captain is Haaland again. Obviously playing Tottenham, who are weaker on defence. But for the EPL monster, we can sort of mix it up a little bit, and we can take a bit more of a chance. Obviously, I think out of these, Gyökeres is going to be the highest captain player. For me, I might go for Semenyo. Playing against Wolves, I think Wolves are going to struggle at the back against this Bournemouth attack. So I think it's an ideal opportunity to bring in someone different for a captain for the EPL monster. With that being said, it's going to be Semenyo or Gyökeres for me. It just basically depends on which is going to get more opportunities within this game. Gyökeres could get 5 shots and score 2. Semenyo could also score a few as well. So I'm going to leave that to up to you. But yeah, this is my team for the EPL monster. So a little bit of a team reveal here. And again, I'm going to look to bring in some of these players, or I have got a lot of these players. I've got Rodgers, I've got Semenyo and a few. Ekitike, I've got Dorgu, I've got. So I'm going to try and bring in these players as options, or if I've got them on my team, I'm going to bring them in for this game week in specific. So yeah, that's the team. Remember to head over to my Twitter, like and retweet my tweets about this game week, and obviously don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. Let's see if I can get this up quick as well. There you go. So Elite Wages. So head over to Elite Wages. Well, that's not Elite Wages. Head over to Elite Wages. Like, subscribe, share, comment as well who you think is your best option for this game week. And yeah, help me help more people win more money in fantasy football. I'm going to move on to the sports betting side of things this week. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. I've basically broke down every team and things anyway. So it's going to be similar to what I said for the fantasy football players. I'm going to target those teams as well. So we're going to head over to the new sportsbook over on FanTeam. You've got very, very competitive odds for these games. So the first one I'm going to go for is Chelsea. Oh, not that. is Chelsea to win against West Ham. Obviously, West Ham lost 3-0 against Sunderland. Chelsea played out a very tough draw against Crystal Palace, but they did create a lot of chances. West Ham's defence is absolutely terrible. They don't know what they're doing in goal either. And I just think Chelsea's attack is going to just dominate this game. This is one of the games I highlighted for the first 10 games anyway for Chelsea to win. I haven't changed my mind on either team's performance. Simply, I think Chelsea get the job done. The next one I'm going to go for is Bournemouth to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers. Obviously, both teams lost. Wolves lost 4-0 against Man City, and obviously, like I said before, Bournemouth aren't the team that Man City are. But Bournemouth did play very well against Liverpool and got very unlucky to concede 2 late goals after going 2-0 down, bringing it back to 2-2. So I think Bournemouth are a very, very difficult team to play against, and I think at home Wolves are going to struggle to go to Bournemouth and get a result. I think Bournemouth can stick around and continue to get their first win of the season. The next one I'm going to go for is the Burnley and Sunderland game. And we're going to go down to the Bono bet market. Sunderland are the underdogs. You can get them at plus money, so 2.15 odds. And again, I think Sunderland impressed a lot last week, obviously beating West Ham 3-0. Obviously Burnley getting the win as well, and obviously Burnley being at home makes them the favourite, but I think Sunderland were the more impressive team last week. No, actually Burnley didn't win last week. Burnley lost last week, but I think Sunderland are the more impressive team. And like I said before, when you look at the head-to-head for the two teams, 0-0, 1-0 Sunderland, 0-0. So I think in the last 3 games, the Sunderland team have dominated Burnley basically. So they had a good start to the Premier League. I think they can continue and step on the gas a little bit in this game week. The next one should be down the list. There it is. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest. Obviously Palace drew 0-0 against Chelsea after scoring with Eze that free kick that should have been allowed, but that's a different story for a different day. And obviously Nottingham Forest scored 3 in their 3-1 win. I'm going to go for the over in goals. Normally when you look at these two teams, you lean to an under, both defensively solid, but I think the attacking threat from Crystal Palace is very, very high, as it is for Nottingham as well. Chris Wood scoring 2 last week. Eze obviously scoring that disallowed goal would have brought us over anyway. I think both teams can contribute towards goals in this game. I think both teams' attack is very good, and I think they can break out from the back on both sides of the ball. So I think over is the best play, and obviously plus money at that one is an added bonus. Where's next? Next up is going to be Brighton. Brighton are the favourites even though they're playing away. Obviously for Everton not having the best start, losing against Leeds. Defensively played okay, and then obviously Brighton drawing 1-1 against Fulham, conceding very, very late. Obviously put a damper on their opening day. I'm going to go down to the draw no bet market again. Obviously getting the safety net of the draw. If it draws, you get stake back. So we're going to play for that. 1.68, a little bit lower odds, but I think Brighton's attack is going to dominate the Everton defence. And obviously Leeds had, I think it was 22 shots. So I think they can, they'll give up a lot of shots again against this attacking Brighton team. And then we're going to go to Fulham and Man United. Obviously United are the favourites, playing very well against Arsenal, getting the loss. Fulham getting the draw. But we're going to go down to the draw no bet market again, and we're going to go, same again, lower odds for Man United, but I think the attacking threat for Man United is looking very, very good this year. I think this is an ideal matchup for the Man United attack, and they played very well defensively as well, so I think it's going to be very tough for Fulham to be able to get some shots away to even create some chances, in their attack. I think Man United will play in this game. And then the final one is going to be on Monday night, which is going to be the final game of the game week. Have I gone past it? Where is it? Oh no, is it Monday? No, it's not Monday. Yes, it is Monday. Yeah, Fulham. Yeah, Monday. And it's going to be Liverpool to win. No draw, no bets, no nothing. It's straight bet. Liverpool win. Newcastle obviously played out a very tough 0-0 draw against Aston Villa. Liverpool, dominated the first half, leading 2-0. Got sloppy, conceded 2 goals, and then scored another 2 goals later on. So they just do what they can to win, and they are, at the moment, they're looking like, it's them and Man City looking like the top 2 teams in the league. I think it's going to be tough for anyone to beat Liverpool this year. Defensively, they look solid. The attack for Newcastle looks a little bit sloppy. Obviously, no Isak as well, which is rumoured to go to Liverpool. I think Liverpool will dominate this game, and obviously you're nearly getting this at plus money as well, which is an added bonus. So you're getting a decent odds for Liverpool to win. So they're my best bets for this week. 7 bets. So Chelsea to win, Bournemouth to win, Sunderland draw no bet, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest over 2.5 goals. Brighton and Hove Albion draw no bet, Manchester United draw no bet, Liverpool to win. So there we go. This week's episode done and dusted. The best fantasy options, in my opinion, have been given. My best bets also have been given. Obviously, like I said a minute ago, head over to my YouTube, click the like, turn the notifications on so you don't miss an episode. Obviously, you can go back and listen to my forward guide or midfielder guide, defender guide for the Premier League, fantasy football and fan team. You can go back to my Premier League predictions over here as well, which you can hear all my predictions for each team. Got a few shorts on there as well, some quick videos, some strategy guides and things like that. Everything. So don't forget to go over here, like, subscribe and turn notifications on so you don't miss an episode. Similar thing for my Twitter. Don't forget to like and retweet. Obviously follow as well so you don't miss any of the content that I'm posting. I'm going to be having a competition soon for the NFL. That is incoming. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a crossover, so it's going to be I'm going to have an announcement for it in a couple of days, but it's going to be 2 episodes every week. Every Wednesday is going to be NFL, and every Thursday is going to be Premier League action. So I'll be breaking down the fantasy football for football, and then the fantasy for the NFL as well, which I'll give you a little sneak peek at now if it comes up. So yeah, I'll be breaking down those weekly. I'm in the process of doing some, as you can see here, there. I'm currently on. I've just finished the NFC West. So I'm breaking down each division individually. Then I'm going to be going through the fantasy options and things like that as well. So you need to turn notifications on so you don't miss any of this content. So I'm gonna leave you there. I'm gonna wish you all good luck on the upcoming Gameweek 2 for the Premier League, and I'm gonna catch you